Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Here's a little note to all the employers in our area this morning. Not every productive employee is appreciated, but every appreciated employee is productive. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot to call in with our Pledge of Allegiance. Come on, Patriots, don't let me down. Call in. Good morning. And a good morning to you and yours. I'm Zeb Bell, the host of this program, Zeb at the Ranch, for the next 3 hours, and brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with all the tires you need, regardless of what the weather throws at you. And, of course, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Heyburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, let's go to one of our friends and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Well, good morning, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you very much. And right now, let's go to the Wheels. Can you boost up the feed line to me just a touch, please? Let's go to the weather forecast right now, and it's sponsored by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn. Roger and the crew are there early in the morning at 7 a.m. to serve you with the best tools and equipment for whatever you need to get done. Now, don't be lulled into a false sense of security with this weather, because all of a sudden we're going to wake up some morning and go, holy moly, what happened out there? Well, get the jobs and all the things you need accomplished right now with the tools and equipment from K&R Rental, and for both long and short term. So get a hold of them today. Number to call, 678-3122. K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn. And here's Gina with the weather.
It's another beautiful day here in the valley, and it looks like this air stagnation is going to be moving along because the winds are going to be picking up. Here's a look at your weather forecast for today. Mostly sunny skies. We are expecting a high of 59. Winds out of the east-northeast, picking up to about 10 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 35. By Friday, partly sunny, high of 62. Winds are going to be picking up again by the afternoon. Friday night, mostly cloudy with a low of 32. By Saturday, mostly sunny skies, gusts as high as 24 miles an hour, and a high of 52. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Gina, thank you very much. And the weather brought to you by Roger and the crew at K&R Rental. What a front yard full of equipment. Wow. They're right there on the Burley Paul Highway ready to serve you, and serve is the key word. They've got everything you need right there at K&R Rental. Burley Paul Highway, 678-3122. Hey, Merv May, come on in here for a minute.
Hey, good set of steer calves there. Here to get all 31, moment I am 31, going out, I am 32.
That's the chant of the world's best doggone auctioneer, Merv May, over at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Number to call for cattle consignments and sale information, 678-9411. The sale that works for you. Sale time today, 10 a.m. Don't forget. Let's take a look at some of the list of the great bunch of calves coming in today. Shoulder 3 Ranch Ranch up at Oakley bringing in 130 head of calves. Robert Hennifer of Cary bringing in 80 head of calves. More from Cary. Simpson Brothers, I know those people up at Cary, 100 head of calves. Jim Barton up at Cary, another good cowboy from that country, 80 head of calves. Tom Peck from Cary bringing in 75 head of calves. Tom Gary, good friend, long time. I've known that man up at Albion, 100 head of calves. And let's see, Darren Smyers is bringing in about 20 head of yearling steers from Albion. Hey, there you go. Butcher cows from Shoulder 3, Antelope Hills Dairy, and Acme Dairy. And I'm telling you, with all these great calves, they're going to be starting at 10 o'clock this morning. Don't you miss it. Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, 678-9411. Merv, sell those steers.
All right, hey, good set of steer calves there. Here to get $1.31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5, 5.5, 5.5, 130, 550, 135, 1.5, $7.35. Zeb Mel gets bottom again.
We have got an outstanding show today with a lot of really nice people coming on, and I'm looking forward to that. I want to remind you, when I say nice people, I always talk about our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Good morning. They got there early at 7:30 this morning. Stay till 5 Monday through Friday. And the telephone number to give them a call, 678-0459. All your heating, cooling, and electrical needs right there by a company. Wow, going into their 7th decade. I mean, that's really impressive, with fantastic service to you. Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. You get a hold of them today. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning to my friend Zeb.
Yes, sir.
I just thought about this just a while ago, but anyway, did you ever go to a movie that was so bad that after 10 minutes of it, you wanted to get up and walk out?
I did.
And did you leave?
I left.
Well, I imagine that's what these people are thinking that are in that audience there at this hearing. And I can see, if we put a close-up of Schiff up there, he'd be just shifting in his seat there and thinking, hey, these people they're not saying what they're supposed to say.
Yeah, I tell you what,
just like I do.
Your analogy of a movie is well said. I'll go back a little bit, and I can tell you. Caller number 2, stand by. I'll be right with you. There was a movie called Blue Lagoon, and it was my wife and I went to it. We lasted about 10 or 15 minutes into the film and looked at each other and said, let's go home and just rearrange our sock drawer. That's how boring that absolutely pathetic movie was.
I remember that movie, and I seen parts of it, but it had no content to it. And it was a sleaze movie for its time.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be just standard.
Yeah.
But it was kind of sleazy back then.
Yeah, and the hearings yesterday were on the same. I'll just tell you quickly what they are, and I've got to take this other call. Yesterday was an adult version of Sesame Street.
You made me laugh that time. My goodness.
All right, well, listen, Keith.
The other thing that I wanted to mention was, when you were doing that livestock report there, you knew what you were saying, and you knew how to say it, and it was the absolute truth. And, there's nobody to dispute it when you tell the truth.
There you go. And Adam Schiff, every time I looked at the TV screen yesterday, I just about retched. Anyway, thank you very much, Keith. God bless you. Hope your cold's getting better. Thank you, man. I got to run. Thanks.
You bet.
All right, thank you. Want to remind everybody about Ark Animal Hospital. Oh, take care of your pets, take care of your kitty cats, your dogs, take care of your livestock, your horses. colder months and times are on the way, and make sure that they've got adequate protection, make sure they've got more than adequate water supplies, and make sure they've got all their vaccinations. If you're going to own them, take care of them, bottom line. And if you have any problems at all, contact our friends Dr. Bill and the crew at Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street, near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. Oh, they do a wonderful job serving you and your livestock. Ark Animal Hospital. They do have the warm hearts for the cold noses. 678-1177. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. This latest impeachment thing goes to show absolutely that the Democratic Party is nothing more than an out-of-control mob. They've lost all sense of value of where this country comes from, and that's all there is to say about it. They are done.
Well, I appreciate and I respect your commentary, and I hope it comes to fruition. Now, with a very liberal-based news media, I question whether that's going to happen. I hope it does. But with all of this balderdash that's being put out in front of the American public, it was estimated by people that sit and figure and add things up and subtract and multiply, it was figured that 96% of the news media puts out a negative news response against President Donald Trump. In other words, the poor guy hasn't got a chance.
Donald Trump brought this country back from disaster. And anybody that wants to vote the Democratic Party in is going to sit back and watch this country crash.
I agree.
And that's my feeling.
No, I totally agree. I don't mind standing up and right there by your side saying, I want Trump to be reelected. I want the Democratic Party to fragment itself into a million pieces, that there's not enough super glue in the world to put it back together again. I totally agree with you. Tony, I got to run, but I appreciate your call. You're spot on this morning. Thank you. Thank you. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget our friends at Denny's Restaurant. And, of course, they're located at 611 North Oberlin in Burley. Have you been there? Have you been to America's Diner? Well, go in, sit down, pull up the chair by the table. Now, pick up the menu. Ooh, are you going to be impressed? All the delicious menu choices, breakfast, lunch, dinner, anytime, all the time, all the desserts, excellent people serving you. You're going to enjoy it. I guarantee it. At Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, 611 North Oberlin and Burley, and another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. And we're going to have our lunch bunch over there next week on Thursday. And we look forward to seeing you there at Denny's Restaurant. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. That must be me. The Burley Senior Center's menu for today is beef stew, salad, and yummy cake.
Okay, yummy cake. Now, you don't know if it's chocolate. You don't know if it's vanilla. Or you don't know what type of frosting, but you said yummy cake.
We had some of it yesterday, and it was very good, but I couldn't tell you what nationality it was. For only $5 you call in, and they'll have it ready for you, or come and eat with us. We need your participation.
All right, Joe Taylor, thank you very much. God bless you, man. Thanks for calling in.
Appreciate you. Bye.
What nationality? That struck me. Calls welcome 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We're going to talk about this fiasco that was put upon us yesterday. Dino Septic Service, it's so fitting when you talk about the Democrats and you talk about, the vile and the filth and the absolute discombuberation that they had. And then when you start talking about our dear friends at at Dino's Septic Service, of which I would like to see if they couldn't hook up a hose to that hearing and pump them all out of there. Dino's Septic Service, septic tank pumping, maybe in the halls of the Ways and Means Committee room, septic tanks and drain fields installed, backhoe services, water and sewer lines installed, septic inspections, liquid waste removal. Oh, they do the jobs you don't want to do. Absolutely fast, fair, friendly service. Call them 436-6526 or 678-1638. I know they're good because they work for us. That's Dino's Septic Service. With a big truck that says smells cargo on the way. Well, how do you break this mess down? I thought about that earlier this morning. I mean, I mentioned it's like a adult version of Sesame Street. It was absolutely worth less TV. The whole mess was a poorly directed and very poorly acted high school play. All of this hearsay, all of this based on hearsay. Not once yesterday, of the times that I could listen and take notes, not once was there any direct, I mean one-on-one, I said, they said, I said type conversation. It was all, well, I got this information from a guy that talked to this plumber over here, and the plumber was in fixing the pipes, and he overheard this. I'm exaggerating the circumstances, but you get my drift. It's all based on hearsay. And then, honest to goodness, when Democratic Congressman Quigley made one of the dumbest statements yesterday, and if there's anybody out there that's in the legal profession, call me on this, please. But he got on the cameras when his turn to make a fool of himself on the microphone, and he said, there have been numerous cases in the courts where hearsay evidence was better to get the conviction. Can I throw that at you again? There have been numerous cases in the courts where hearsay evidence was better to get the conviction. Now, I took pre-law for a year at the University of Wisconsin, didn't really like it and everything. I'm not a lawyer. But I don't think, and again, I'll stand up for any correction here, that you can impeach the President of the United States of America, or for that matter, go to the courts and have the judge throw the book at the defendant on hearsay evidence. Well, so-and-so said this, and how do I know that? Well, my taxi driver told me on the way to the office the other day. Oh, come on. And for this buffoon, Congressman Quigley, to make that kind of a statement, it just left me hanging. I looked at the TV and I thought, did I really hear what that absolute dolt said? Give me a call on that, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. One other point that needs to be made here. And for those of you that follow this, you know I'm telling you the straight skivvy on this. Do you remember back in like July when Adam Schiff was adamant, there you go, that's good, that he had talked to the whistleblower? Why yesterday did he come out and say, well, I've never met him. I don't know who it is. What a lie. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Zeb. Whether it's an impeachment hearing, a civil case hearing, or any lower court, you cannot go off of hearsay evidence. If I'm mistaken, and I'm not taking any legal courses at all, but I've been through the system a time or two, unfortunately. But anyway, point being is that kind of stands on the grounds of disbarment if you're an attorney or a judge that goes by hearsay evidence and not actual fact.
I just don't understand, Riley, how anything can come up in the court system, honestly. And that's why I'm hoping somebody that's a bona fide lawyer will call in. But I don't understand how anybody possibly could put their life and their livelihood on the line for hearsay evidence used against them on a conviction. I mean, that to me is absolute. You open the Pandora's box for somebody to go to the coffee shop tomorrow morning and say, well, that Riley, I know I heard he did this and that. And all of a sudden somebody knocks on your door. They arrest you that night. They take you, put you in jail. Your court date comes up. You haven't had any chance to defend yourself. You don't know what the allegations are. You don't know who made the allegations. And you're going to go to court and possibly spend time in jail over a hearsay that never was proven?
Well, I agree. It's terrible, and they do tell you what you're charged with, and you do have a chance to meet your accuser. This type of setup from the very get-go, they didn't want anybody to know who the president's accuser was. That's because there isn't any. As far as I know.
Yeah. Whoa. Wait a minute. Riley, listen to me.
They have someone to say, yeah, well, he's the whistleblower.
Wait a minute. Riley, listen to me. You just said something a minute ago that really you made a lot of sense, and I didn't want you to gloss over on that point. You said, and I thought I heard you say, you don't believe there was a whistleblower.
No, I don't. I honestly don't. I think it was Shifty Schiff and all them other people on the left that have tried to find anything on the president to impeach him. And they couldn't find anything, so they came up with this whistleblower bull crap. And when they couldn't find an actual whistleblower, and somebody said, well, who is it? Well, you're not going to talk to him. We're going to protect him because of fear of retribution from the right. Well, now, who is it? And they wouldn't tell us. And they wouldn't tell us. And finally, when a name came out, it was the name of somebody that was a Obama holdover. However, I honestly think, and I have that gut feeling that there was no whistleblower, and they just pulled a rabbit out of the hat to CYA, and they don't, so they have something. I feel that's exactly what happened. And now they're getting pinned down on it again, and this time they're going to walk away from it again. And it's so frustrating to me that there ought to be some kind of retribution on the Democratic side to hold them accountable for all this mess and crap that they're causing and all the hate and discontent they're causing, because that's all it is. I'll better let you go.
No, wait a minute. I want to say something to you. Stand there right by the telephone. I agree with your premise, and I think more and more people today are being awakened to the fact that maybe all of this was just nothing more than a fictitious cartoon character dreamed up in the minds of Democrats to go and smear the president. Riley, that was very, very perceptive. Thank you.
Well, it makes me very angry. You can tell my temper hit the button, so I better let you go.
Okay, thank you. Hey, caller number 2, I'll be right there. Stand by. I got to tell everybody about a great Big Bennett Boys auction service sale that's going to be this Saturday at 11 o'clock over in Gooding, and located at 211 8th Avenue West in Gooding, starting at 11 o'clock this coming Saturday. The Gary McLaughlin Estate Auction, and oh my goodness, beautiful collectibles, antique oak lodge chairs, and they've got all kinds of different beautiful furniture and household items and appliances, shop equipment and tools. You better get over to this big sale. It's going to be Saturday at 11 o'clock in Gooding. Can't miss it. Signs, look for them. 211 8th Avenue West in Gooding. Gary McLaughlin Estate Auction, managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Bell.
Yes, ma'am.
I remember a time when the Democrats said, we must pass it and then read what's in it later.
Yep.
Yeah. Are they going to try to do the same dadgum thing? You and I talked about this earlier. This is just a mess. It's worse than Sesame Street. It's worse than Captain Kangaroo. It's just a blatant attempt to dislodge a true patriot who is trying to do the best for this country. and they don't like it because he's not one of the establishment.
You know who's standing in the wings right now, laughing, smirking, and just absolutely relishing in regards to what's going on? There's two people that right now are just absolutely sitting there off stage, and they're smiling at this whole thing. You know who it is? It is... Pardon?
Go ahead.
No, it's Barack Obama and Joe Biden. And I'll tell you why. Because of the absolutely ridiculous policy that Obama had with the Ukraine. It was nothing more than just a mess. That's the best way to sum it up. And then appointing, at that time, Vice President Biden to go over there and do the investigatory work necessary and take care of implementing the programs, while his itty-bitty boy, Hunter, goes to work for one of the most ruthless energy companies in all of Europe and gets over $50,000 a month. Oh, please, Donna, tell me there was everything legal and on the sunshiny side of the tree.
Yeah, you bet. I have a bridge in Mississippi I want to sell you.
Yeah.
It's just, and the two key witnesses yesterday, I think it was Kent, the other buffoon, one of them, said that our relationship with Ukraine is better than it has ever been. So why are they trying to do what they're doing? They're trying, like I said, it's so frustrating. They're just trying to upseat a duly elected president. We elected him because we were tired of the corruption and the crap going on in D.C.
Let me ask you something. If you were in a meeting with somebody, and give me a short answer on this because I'm behind on my commercials. If you were in a meeting with somebody and during the course of the conversation you realized that they were trying to extort from you or they were trying to bribe you or there was some illegality, wouldn't you realize it after a point in time?
Oh, you bet.
Okay. Now my question is this.
Like a rocket scientist.
Yeah, my question is this. Once you realized it, then you'd probably have some really ill feelings about that said person that tried to do that, and you would speak out, would you not?
Yes.
Okay, well then why isn't the Ukrainian president saying anything negative about Donald Trump at all? They got along good. They had a very open conversation, and they seemed like they really had a copacetic relationship.
Well, because they're two-faced just like all the others.
No, you're missing my point, Donna. I'm saying that why did the president of Ukraine not come out and say, well, Donald Trump tried to twist my arm and he tried to extort from me and he tried to bribe me? That didn't happen.
Oh, no, it didn't. No, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. Yeah, no, why are these other people coming forward? All they have is hearsay. There's no proof.
I dare you to go down on the corner on the square and think of a real nasty rumor about somebody, I don't care who it is, and start spreading it. And tell 10 people. And tell them to walk around the square and tell whoever they meet or their friends or whatever the same rumor. And by the time they go completely around the square, I will bet you a dinner with George, Deanna, and myself that rumor is going to be so distorted on hearsay you're never even going to recognize or realize the original content.
Oh, I think you're right. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but it is true. Hearsay, rumors hurt people. And they're just definitely trying to hurt Trump. Not only Trump, but his whole entire family and the establishment that is backing him and working with him.
Absolutely. I got to run. I am so late. Thank you.
Me too.
All right, thank you. Don't forget Mountain Transmissions with Rick and the crew at 504 East Main in Burley. Want to extend to you. Here's a moment of just good thinking right now. Thanksgiving around the corner, and Mountain Transmissions wants to wish you and your family a very, very happy Thanksgiving. God bless them. I appreciate that. And before you go over the river and through the snow to grandmother's house for Thanksgiving, make sure your transmission and your vehicle's not slipping and dripping and making all all the shifts and you're going forward instead of in reverse. All of these can be problems. Call Rick at Mountain Transmissions at 678-9110. There you go. Oh, and by the way, too, another quick note. Got a lot of those because I'm running late. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox with the iComfort Wi-Fi thermostat from Lennox, featuring a remote control access so you can adjust your home's temperature from anywhere. Oh my! Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox offering up to $1,600 in rebates on a new system. Make yourself comfy. Keep comfy. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459. Okay, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And then enter California Democrat Eric Swalwell. Now, I'm sure that by now all of you in the audience know who he is, and you have a mental picture of his face. You know, the little choir boy look. You know, the soft features, kind of a real wuss. And for some of his verbiage, you just want to reach through the TV and grab the necktie by the shorter end and pull it tight so he starts to resemble a human thermometer. This guy is the guy in high school that was so smug and so arrogant. Remember, we all had one in our class. You know what I mean. And with a demeaning attitude. And he comes out and he says yesterday that all of this was organized by President Donald Trump in a shakedown scheme of bribery and extortion. A shakedown scheme with bribery and extortion? Oh, this howdy-doody deal is going to continue again tomorrow. We get a chance to be subjected to it again. But it's going to continue tomorrow. Honestly, I'm going to make a prediction. I could be dead wrong on this come next week. But my prediction is that all of a sudden they're going to get a big hole in the boat. And the Democrats are going to start sinking worse than they already are. And there's going to be a lot of them looking for life rafts. Seriously, I think it's going to come towards the middle of next week. Caller, I'll be right there. I just have got to tell everybody about Barry Equipment and Rental. Oh, yeah, they got the big dudes. They got the little dudes. They've got all the dudes for the lifting and digging and pushing and carrying and grading and leveling. Oh, my. They've got all the equipment for you. Yep, they got the Doosan wheel loaders and excavators and great financing programs and lease programs, all the Bobcats, all the shapes and sizes. I mean, these people really have what you need to get a job done now. Barry Equipment and Rental, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and the Nampa location. All you got to do is just stop in and see them today. We're going to be later on this morning talking to Cody Powers at Barry Equipment. I'm looking forward to it. Barry Equipment and Rental. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir.
My friend.
Hey, yeah, yesterday they trotted out their 2 star witnesses.
Uh-huh.
I mean, these were supposed to be their superstars. These
yeah.
Like the LeBron James of the basketball world.
Surely you could come up with a better analogy.
I wanted to see what your blood pressure did. But that's the best they had. They weren't going to start off with a second string or third string. They wanted to start off with their best to get everybody in there.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I seen, what little bit I could stay awake and watch, was these guys knew nothing. The only thing they knew is what they heard.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And Rush Limbaugh summed it up best. He says, these guys are upset because President Trump didn't go through normal channels to deal with Ukraine. So these guys feel useless.
No, I don't care if it's Limbaugh or who it is. I'm just going to come out and say this on my own. If the other party, that being the president of Ukraine, doesn't feel like they've been slanted, cheated, or bribed or coerced, where in the heck is the crime?
There isn't one. There isn't one. And somebody else said yesterday, I think it was, it's like the Burning Man in Nevada. They're building this up to burn it down. The only thing they want to do is to damage President Trump.
Oh, no question about it. Yeah, but I told you that 2 months ago. I said this whole thing was just nothing more than plan B, C, D, E, F, whatever, to go ahead and hurt Trump on the re-election campaign leading up to 2020.
Exactly. And what they don't realize they are doing, they are exposing how weak and how helpless and how un-American they are to the American people. There are more and more Democrats starting to go to Trump rallies.
Did you hear about Ben Shapiro?
Yeah.
Here's the conservative young man, Ben Shapiro, and I've read transcripts of some of his speeches that he's given around the country. Very eloquent, very articulate young man with conservative politics. And he goes, I don't mean to take your time, Doug, but I think you know the story quickly, goes to Boston University to speak, and all the lefties, the loons and everything were there to protest, But all of a sudden, all the conservative students stood up and started chanting, USA, USA, USA. And for some strange reason, the loons left.
Exactly. And that's exactly what needs to happen on all these campuses when there are a handful of dimwits that don't give a dang and want to get their way, want to be a minute in the limelight, and have the rest of the ones that want to listen to something stand up and push back, and they will realize they are in a minority.
Well, it's just like the absolute asinine, stupid, and very unprofessional attitude of Northwestern University condemning the fact that they hired Jeff Sessions to speak on their campus, a former attorney general. And they went after their student newspaper. They went after other people in condemnation of them hurting students' feelings by having to listen or wanting to listen to a conservative thought.
And the journalists apologized for searching out a story and getting both sides of it and printing it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a college that turns out journalists.
You think?
I mean, let that sink in a minute.
Yeah.
If you don't have a backbone to stand behind what you research and print, you don't need to be a journalist.
I see, and I've got to let you go after this, but I see a time coming, whether it's on college campuses or wherever it might be in a little coffee shop someplace. I see an activity that many are going to disconstrue, and they're going to blame and point the finger at conservatism. But honestly, I see people standing up and saying, we are not going to be pushed around anymore. Here is the line in the sand. You step over it, you and I have a problem.
Exactly, and President Trump is showing us that is the way to fight them.
Absolutely.
This cowering down when they call you a racist, don't cower underneath a rock and say, oh, no, I'm not a racist, and do anything about it. You stand up and get in their face and tell them you're not a racist.
Absolutely.
This is exactly what President Trump is showing us how to do it. When somebody punches you, you don't sit there and take it.
What?
Turn around and punch back.
Yeah, and oh boy, the lefties are going to go, oh, that's violence. Well, listen, who perpetrated it in the first place? And I'll tell you what, when it comes to somebody getting in my face, your face, anybody else's face, and making demands that we accept their way or the highway, it's time to put the red flag up and say, buddy, what do you want? You want bare knuckles, or how do you want it?
Yeah, it's time to fight fire with fire and tell them that they do have a right for their opinion. They do have that, but they do not have a right to try to force their opinion down my throat.
There you go. I am so late, Doug. Thank you very much.
Hey,
appreciate it.
Let's do what we can for our senior centers. Let's support them. Go eat there. You will not only have a yummy dessert, but you'll have an enlightened lunch.
If you get a chance, I need you to call me later on today. I've got a little business I need to visit with you about, okay?
Okay, I didn't do it, though.
Oh, yes, you did. Your name's at the top of the list, and Mrs. Kiltz has got her ruler. Thank you. Okay. Hey, don't forget December 9th, Monday, December 9th at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard at 11 o'clock in the morning. They're going to have a bred stock cow sale. Oh, boys, I'm telling you, this is going to be ripping good. 1,000 head of really good heifers and cows, all ages. You better consign now. Call Cade Rogge. Good old boy right there. 431-0074 or Merv May at 431-5735. This is the sale, cowboys and cowgirls, to put a good string of cattle together for this next year. It's going to be on Monday, December 9th at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard at 11 o'clock. Don't miss it, okay? Right now, it's time for the weather, and the weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and we really want to give them a great big shout-out because they do so much for your hearing health. I guarantee you, when you start to notice a little diminishment in hearing, boy, oh boy, you better give them a call. I'm going to give you a new number. Yep. 417-8799. 417-8799. And please call them for a hearing screening. Don't let it go, especially this time of the year with all the family getting together for Thanksgiving and then not too far in the future, Christmas. Make sure that you can understand and hear everything. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
It's another beautiful day here in the valley, and it looks like this air stagnation is going to be moving along because the winds are going to be picking up. Here's a look at your weather forecast for today. Mostly sunny skies. We are expecting a high of 59. Winds out of the east-northeast, picking up to about 10 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 35. By Friday, partly sunny, high of 62. Winds are going to be picking up again by the afternoon. Friday night, mostly cloudy with a low of 32. By Saturday, mostly sunny skies, gusts as high as 24 miles an hour, and a high of 52. Time to look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
It's November. Okay, things are changing. As a matter of fact, they're really changing around the United States. Freezing temperatures and snow and wind over 70% of the country, as a matter of fact. And you don't hear a word, not a single phrase from all the climate change kooks. Weather forecast brought to you this hour by our friends at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And believe me, give them a call today and make an appointment for a hearing screening. 417-8799. 417-8799. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Deb. First of all, I'd like to thank you for that excellent interview yesterday with Alex Newman. It was excellent, and I think the fact you invited him to be back on the program again, I think that I'll tell you. But I wanted to comment about this so-called sham that's going on with this impeachment thing. I mean, both of those ambassadors at one time, I think, were asked by one of the Republicans, "Where's the crime?" And they didn't. You know, what are the charges? And they both just silent there. They never showed that clip on TV this morning.
No.
And there is no crime. Read the transcript, as you mentioned. And what got me, probably the quote of the day was this Democrat Quigley from Illinois. He said, "Hearsay is better than fact."
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but we've reached the point where, just whatever gossip out there, that's more important than actual facts, reading the transcript, and so forth. I mean, they're trying to, they're getting on bribery. Well, Mark Levin said on one of the programs, Hannity last night, said, the bribery thing has to do, historically, as the founding fathers, that the president would take bribes. Not that the president was bribing somebody else, that the president would take bribes to offer something.
Well, wait a minute, Adrian, wait a minute. Wait a minute, let me jump in here. You and I are a little bit long in the earlobe and, of course, long in the tooth, and we've been here quite a while. And I dare you to tell me that on our time here that God's given us on this green earth, that there hasn't been negotiations with presidents and other foreign leaders to get an ultimate goal or an ultimate finalization on an agreement. Why then is this negotiation so subjected to scrutiny by the Democrats when the Ukrainian president said there was nothing wrong?
Well, this is because they just got to get rid of Trump they're grasping for straws, and they're drowning. And the more they push this thing, the more they're making people angry, and the more people are going to come out and support Trump because they really see through the sham. And that's what it is. It's a sham. And, Obama was supposedly promised military aid to Ukraine, but all they gave him was basically flour and donut.
Yeah.
He didn't give them military aid, whereas now, under Trump, they've done much better getting actual military aid to prevent the Russians from invading Ukraine.
I agree.
It is like the breadbasket of this country.
I totally agree. I've got another call waiting. I've got another call waiting, Adrian. I've got to run. I've got another call, and I'm short on time, but your points are absolutely perfect this morning, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, it's a sham, folks. It is just incredible that we could have this going on. It's a disgrace to our constitutional republic to have this kind of theater drama portrayed and then rubbed through the media situation.
Absolutely.
So, anyway, we need to keep our country free, get hold of our elected people, and tell them to stop this nonsense.
I agree with that 100%. Thank you, Adrian. Appreciate it. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Please go ahead.
Yes, Zeb, a rather dumb question, I guess. I consider myself of average intelligence. I've been voting for 60-something years, and I get sick and tired of talking about something that the dummies don't know about. And I have not found one person can tell me what quid pro quo is. Can you explain that to me?
It is basically, it's a Latin term and basic English. It's a Latin term. I'll give you something if you give me something. That's the bottom line. You give me something or I'll offer you something in exchange for something in return. Quid pro quo. And to be honest with you, those 3 words, which are hard to say fast and not trip over your words, those 3 words over this entire situation with the president of Ukraine and President Trump are so ambiguously phony. And I've got that transcript right here on my desk. I had it the day after it was released. And the terminology doesn't apply or is not applicable at all to what happened in that conversation. You really hit a subject matter there that makes me mad. There was no quid pro quo. In other words, there was nothing of, hey, give me this and I'll give you that.
Well, I'm going to be a star at the coffee shop this morning, because nobody else knows. I haven't talked to one person yet that knows what it was.
Well, I took Latin in high school. I hated that course more than any other course I ever took, but I did remember that. Thank you. All right, take care. I hated Latin in high school. Oh, I think the only thing I walked out of there was how to ask somebody how they were each day. Honestly. Let's not forget our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Yes, be ready for any weather. Be ready for the sludge, the ice, the muck, the snow, you name it on the highways. They've got all the tires to get you through safely, absolutely, with the best of all the different tread designs. They've got all the sizes for your cars, your pickups, your SUVs. They've got all those winter tires like that Winter Cat. Woo! Now, there's a tire, the Winter Cat. Increased stability, advanced winter traction, yeah, buddy. And all of this and so much more at any one of the 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Best in brake service? Yep. Best in front-end alignments and shocks and struts? Yep. Best in batteries? Yep. Best in service? Yep. They've got it all right there with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. The best your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Wow, good first hour. Thank you, everybody, for your calls. And if we upset some of the Democrats in our area, oh, good. We accomplished our duty. There you go. Next hour, we have the Chamber of Commerce report with Penny Main. And then at 9:17, we have a great interview with Nick over at Burley Physical Therapy. And 9:30, Rita. I have not had a chance to talk to Rita for the last couple of weeks because it worked out that Sharon was going to fill in for me on that respective Thursday or Thursdays. And so today I get a chance to visit with her. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see, what else have we got? Real quick, I want to get this note in. Rescuing Our Children and Our Nation with a gentleman by the name of Alex Newman. He was on my program yesterday. Very impressive. It's going to be next Tuesday, November 19th at 7 p.m. at the College of Southern Idaho Taylor Building, room 276. Don't miss it. This really is going to be good. Gotta go. News next from CBS. I'll see you in 7. Oh, my goodness sakes. Here we go. I got to make a quick note here before I forget anything. There we are. Zebeth Ranch on this Thursday. And, of course, we're brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of tires for whatever the winter weather is going to throw at you. Stop in and see them today, along with Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Want to remind you quickly before we go to the Chamber report about our Wi-Fi thermostat, the iComfort thermostat from Lennox, featuring remote control access so that you can control your home's temperature from anywhere. Find out more about it. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, offering up to $1,600 in rebates on a new system. Make yourself comfy. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459. One thing, too, I mentioned Rick earlier at, of course, Mountain Transmissions. He wants to wish you and yours a very happy Thanksgiving. I love that. Thanksgiving is almost a forgotten holiday, and we're going to bring it back. Absolutely. Mountain Transmissions, they want to make sure your transmission's running right. When you put it in drive, you want to go forward. When you put it in reverse, you want to go backward and not have a mix-up on the between and the twixt. So get a hold of Rick at Mountain Transmissions. 678-9110, located at 504 East Main in Burley. Really nice people. A lot of you know that I have been taking care of my beat up, messed up, broken up legs, and I've been going over to our friends at, of course, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. They are the best at what they do, absolutely, and I appreciate everything they do. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, with Nick Greenwell and all the physical therapists. You be sure and get a hold of them today, make an appointment, and they can help stop that aching and paining and get you back to being who you are and doing what you want to do. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 678-1191. You get a hold of them today. Right now it's time for the Chamber of Commerce report. We had a trumpeter that was going to be in the studio this morning, but he's got a cold sore on his lip, and we go to Penny Main over at the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce.
That's the best ever. That poor guy. Feel kind of sorry for him this morning, actually.
Yeah, all you hear when he tries to blow through the trumpet is a...
Yeah, right. I've been there, done that. I know that feeling. Hey, I hope you're feeling better. I appreciate the shout out for Burley Physical Therapy. I just found out I've got some issues myself. I found out on Monday, so we're getting ready to go into physical therapy. So I may have my doctor refer to them, as a matter of fact, so we'll see how that works out.
Isn't it wonderful getting old so that you can make plans to go to parties that play music like the Walker Waltz and all that type of thing?
Yeah. Lawrence Welk,
Yeah,
right?
the Walker Waltz. Or how about this one? Instead of the old peppermint twist when we were in high school, now they call it the Pepto-Bismol twist.
No kidding. That is an understatement. You know, all you have to do is just watch TV anymore, and you know exactly who the commercials are catering to, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's kind of a sad commentary, but it's true.
Oh.
So I'm glad you're feeling better. I hope you are anyway.
I am, and I'm trying to smile and enjoy everything. And boy, you've got a list to tell us about this morning.
I know, friend. Sometimes I'm sure you feel the same way. It takes two of you to get stuff done, but, you know, we're blessed here. A quick reminder, we've got some great gifts here in our visitor center. Vicki Perez, who runs our front office, does a great job at trying to keep it stocked. You know, we've got some interesting Idaho gift items, some interesting Idaho food items, those kinds of things. So if you're looking to put together a basket or something for the holidays, we'd love to be your place to shop. Also, if there's something you'd really like and we don't have in stock, because we can't afford really to stock everything, right? But if you have something that you have in mind that you'd like to see if we can get for you, just contact Vicki Perez, and she'll help you get that done. And hopefully we can get an order for you in time. But time is of the essence. You know, it takes a while to get items turned around and shipped. So stop in if you're interested, and we'll see if we can't help you with our front office and all those very fun gifts we've got in our visitor center.
Okay, well, I'm going to turn it over to you to give us a rapid fire.
Okay, I'm going to do that then. Thank you so much. The monthly chamber luncheon is today, 12 noon, Connors Cafe. We still have a little bit of room left. If you'd like to join us, Dr. Ken Cox and colleagues from the Minidoka County School District will be addressing some timely issues educators are currently facing. And we've talked about this a little bit before, but, you know, it's, again, a sensitive yet I think a timely subject with, again, the issues that all these school districts are dealing with from, mental health challenges to suicides, those kinds of things. Goodness gracious. Anyway, this will be an eye-opener today. So if you've got a chance to come by and join us for lunch, we'll be at Connors Cafe. Please come a little bit before noon so we can get you registered. The St. Nicholas Catholic School Gala and Auction is Saturday night at the Burley Inn. Big fundraiser for the school, which includes live and silent auctions, raffles, and more. I'm told it's a hoot. I'm going to go this year, so I can't wait for that. They always put on a great event. The historic Wilson Theater is hosting a Celtic concert this Saturday night featuring Marvin Goldstein and Vanessa Joy. If you need some more information, you can head straight to their website, historicwilsontheater.com. And last but not least, and we've got some other things that just came in late yesterday, so we've got a lot of Christmas functions and events happening, so we'll try our best to keep you updated on those. But the Caring and Sharing Festival to benefit Minidoka Memorial will be held November 29th through December 2nd. They always put on a great event every year. And as we have some more details on that event, we'll make sure we'll roll those out to you probably next week. So,
okay, and then the installation banquet.
Yes, Zeb, and I'm hoping you're coming this year. It's going to be great. Set for January 30th. We've already got some tables committed, and so there's lots of sponsorship opportunities. This is a big function for us as we install our new board of directors members and give a shout out and honor some business leaders in the area. It's a great time to get together with your friends and neighbors and folks in business and just have a great evening of fun and camaraderie, a chance to win some great prizes, and again, kick off the new year with our new strategies that we put together for the chamber, as well as our new board members. So just keep the date, January 30th at the Burley Inn.
Absolutely. I've got a question about a word that was used earlier. I know that it's a Celtic concert, but how come it's not called a Celtic concert in regards to if you had the Boston Celtics basketball team there?
I have no idea. I think it comes from the country of origin.
Oh,
but I'm
okay.
not sure what that's about. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you realize now it's...
The Bostonians have a different way to say it, I think.
Yes, they do. It's time, and you realize this, of course, that you are down 2-1 in answering your questions, your trivia questions.
I was hoping that you would forget this.
No, this is the biggest elephant in the room, me.
Silly me.
All right, here we go. Now, I'm going to give you an easy one. An easy one.
You said that last time.
I know, but I lied. Anyway, there were two very well-known movie actors that played in a TV series detective show about 30 years ago. Who were they? The show was called Moonlighting. Who were the two actors that were big names in the movies, and then they went to the TV show?
Moonlighting. Oh, okay. I can see her face. Oh, darn. What was her name? I can see her face, blonde. I can't remember her name. Totally spaced it off. And I'm just gonna die when you tell me. And I think wasn't the lead actor, but I don't think he went into TV. I'm thinking of Bruce Willis, but that's not right.
Yes, that's right.
Was it? So Bruce Willis and
Sybil Shepherd.
Sybil Shepherd. Dang, that's so right. I had it right on the tip of my tongue, but I did get, so what do I get for having 50%?
A round-trip ticket paid in full to Paul, Idaho, next Monday morning at 4 a.m.
Okay, I'll meet you there. If you're buying breakfast, I'll meet you there.
Hey, listen, Penny, I appreciate all your activity. The president of the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce every week on this program. God bless you, and we'll look forward to next Thursday.
Thank you, friend. Have a good day.
All right. Take care. Thank you. Sybil Shepherd and Bruce Willis. Yes. Those were the good old days on TV. Let's see. What else have I got to tell you about real quick? Oh, our friends over at Hanson Mortuary. I don't want to forget this. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with Joel Heward, his family and staff serving you and your family. And they always want to provide the families they serve with the best possible support and comfort. And always, you can depend on this, the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. They care. And they want to make sure that your family is well taken care of. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. The number to call, 436-5636. Pardon me, I'll repeat that again, 436-5636. And Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Real quick, before we have our Burley Physical Therapy report, I want to remind you, at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. They're having a doorbuster sale. Holy cow, it was yesterday, started yesterday. It's phenomenal. 50% off retail prices on select items. Woo, this is a pre-Black Friday sale event for you. And they've got special drawings. And I'm telling you, all the furniture and the carpet and the window coverings. My goodness, the list goes on and on. What are you doing? Turn the radio off right now. Well, no, take a portable with you and run down to Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More for this great big doorbuster sale at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, 459 Overland in Burley. Right now, Wheels, old buddy, old pal, it's time to hear more about our great friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation.
Well, good morning, everybody, and it's my treat, and I mean that, to talk to a good friend of mine at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Nick Greenwell, the head of all the operation with Burley Physical Therapy and, of course, Elite Fitness. Good morning, Nick. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. It's always a treat to talk to me. I know that. You're a lucky man.
You know, you went so far in that first sentence, and then I thought, boy, that's going to be really a compliment, but it wasn't. Listen, we're going into a part of the year, and I make no bones about it. I, being on crutches, am very, very cautious because the little bit of snow or ice or water on linoleum floors in stores, etc., scares me to death.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. Read my mind. This is the time of year when, unfortunately for the public and fortunately for Nick, that my business swells a little bit. Cold weather oftentimes brings on slips, trips, falls, car wrecks, all kinds of lovely stuff that we need to be prepared for. I think the forecast shows that we might even get a little bit of snow next week, and so my biggest advice to folks, obviously, is to prepare for it now. And so folks like yourself that do use crutches or any other kind of an assistive device, make sure you have good tips on them. make sure that they're in good repair and they're not loose and they're not going to slip off or they're going to, again, catch something in the store. They do make ice tips for canes and crutches and such. That's kind of a spring-loaded device that you put on, and if you do get into an icy patch or if you're going across snow, you can just hit a little latch and it kicks a little, almost like an ice pick down on the bottom so you can grip easier, things like that. And then obviously good soled shoes, start looking for those kind of things, especially if you're maybe getting up there in age a little bit or if you have something that is causing your balance to be slightly off. Definitely ice and snow is not forgiving on those kind of things, and when our bodies aren't reacting the way that they used to in terms of reflex and strength and all of those things, you're much more susceptible for falls. And so preparing for those things now with good shoes and again, properly adjusted and maintained assistive devices and all that kind of stuff is imperative.
Nick, you and I have talked, and I make no bones about it, that I think the medical equipment companies have not done their job as far as trying to put research, innovative new equipment, and quite frankly, people like me and others, our thoughts into how their equipment should be made. Do you agree or disagree?
No, I agree. I mean, there's some good advancements in certain things, but things as simple as a good solid pair of crutches are kind of tough to find, and you can be definitely the advocate of that. So we hope that they continue to do that, but certainly take a look at those things because they do crack, they do bend, they do have issues, and again, this is the time of the year you don't want to find that out too late when you're on the ground.
We're kind of looking at a before and an after situation with you now because you have Elite Fitness at 1200 Oakley Avenue in Burley, and I urge people, I try to exercise every day with my weight program, etc., but with the snow shoveling coming up and added kind of increase of activity trying to get through the snow in the wintertime, people need to do some muscular activity now to prepare for it. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. Again, and speaking of the same point, preparation is the key for those kind of things. I probably see the highest number of low back injuries throughout the year in the cold months because of that. So absolutely one of the worst things that you can do if you do have, say, a bad disc or a bulging disc of some sort is to bend forward, A, and then B, lift something, and then C, rotate. So that's kind of the triple threat for a low back. And so we lean forward and scoop up a big old heavy, shovel of snow that has water in it, and then we twist our body quickly to kind of throw it off the side of the driveway, and now all of a sudden you've herniated a disc, and we've got huge issues. And so, absolutely, we need to stretch. We need to do some core exercise. We need to warm things up and stay in shape for those kind of things. Obviously, you want to use good technique, but preparation goes a long way. And if you do have an acute injury, obviously we can help you here and kind of get you weathering the storm a little bit better. But yes, we are fortunate that we've acquired Elite Fitness down the road a few blocks here, and we can kind of take you from more of an acute managed program that's very supervised and structured to more of an independent program that you can come and go as you please. It's a 24-hour center, so you get an electronic key and you can come and go as you please. But absolutely, we need to stay in shape. And it's hard. You're not outside. You're not walking. You're not walking through the fields. You're not doing what we normally do during the summer, and so we need to do something indoors, and so we're really, really fortunate that we kind of ran into that we can kind of help people on a continuum, through the rest of their lives, and to kind of keep them moving in the winter as well. You bet.
Nick, what about Elite Fitness? I mean, will the people there at Elite Fitness, you being the quarterback of the team, do you design personal programs looking at each person's individual needs?
We do, absolutely. So again, we're just kind of wading into how we're going to structure things down there. We've only had it for a few weeks. And so at this point, when new members come in to sign up, I've been meeting with them personally and setting them up on individualized programs that kind of suit their particular needs or maybe what their goals are, or if they've got a bad knee or a hip that's bothering them or something, to make sure that they're not doing things that are going to injure them, right? I mean, sometimes it's more about what not to do than what to do, and so we can kind of answer all of those questions. And so, yeah, we're going to be staffing it more and more with some of our skilled staff down here. I've got one other physical therapist, Josh, my son, and then we've got some PTAs that'll be kind of coming down and helping to answer questions and set people up on appropriate programs as well.
And then, heaven forbid, if there is an injury or an accident, you, of course, and your highly trained staff of all your physical therapists definitely can look at the problem, assess the problem of what the ache and pain is, and help people get back to being themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what it's all about, is being able to assess things quickly so we don't, have muscular atrophy or stiffness or whatever. And maybe we need an x-ray, maybe we don't, whatever, but we can assess those things rather quickly and then get you on a structured program to help get you back to playing with your grandkids or, working at the factory or back on the sports field or whatever it is.
Nick, one thing I would like you to comment on is that I think, and this is my own personal opinion, a lot of businesses need to be made aware of how they can make their flooring and everything else, their entryways, a lot more safe.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We have folks come by from time to time and ask us to come and just do a quick ergonomic analysis of their business or the floor or a lot of times it's maybe a bunch of receptionists or computer workers, and we come in and just take a quick peek and make sure that the heights of their desks are appropriate for their posture and that they're not going to create repetitive work injuries or there's an unsafe height or a lifting technique or whatever. And so we're happy to do those kinds of things as well.
Okay, right now I want you to explain to everybody about Elite Fitness again and the hours they're open and the memberships, and then tell us about Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation.
You bet. So down at Elite, again, it's a 24/7 club, so you can come and go anytime you want. When you sign up, you get an electronic key. We have it staffed right now, Monday through Thursday from 11 to 6, meaning that there's just somebody in the front chair there that can answer questions and sign people up. But we're also doing that by appointment as well if you can't make it during those hours. And again, in the future, we hope to staff that even more. We're just kind of getting our feet wet there. So right now, 11 to 6, Monday through Thursday, and then by appointment after that. We've got several different programs to choose from. We have a corporate structured thing. If your business is interested in having one of us drop by and explain things to them, we give really good discounts for companies that sign on with us. And then we have a couple of individualized programs. One's a standard program that's just a monthly fee. I think it's about $28 a month. No frequency is required. You can come and go anytime. And then we have another program that's kind of an incentive-based program that if you come 12 or more times during the month, your membership fee is only $15. And so that's really nice for a lot of people that have a little more flexibility and want to come more often. It's very inexpensive. And then, of course, down here at my primary physical therapy office, we are here from 7 until 5 on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and 7 to 6 on Tuesday and Thursday. And we're always running around town helping out with ball games and whatever events ask us to come and dive in and maybe provide some sports medicine coverage or whatever. We're busy.
I tell you what, I am so impressed with this man, his staff, and his business to help serve the public. Nick Greenwell at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, and Elite Fitness at 1200 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Nick, God bless you, and thanks for being on the program.
Absolutely. Thanks for the call, Zeb. Be safe.
All right, sir.
Don't forget, to our friends at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Oh, my goodness, let's ride with all the snowmobiles, all the snow bikes, all the accessories. Oh, get out and enjoy all that angel dandruff out there. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24. And, of course, don't forget they're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. And along with all that, they've got a super service department to keep you running all the time. Let's Ride. Again, 270 Highway 24 over in the Rupert area. And, of course, this is where the fun is sold. Stop over and see them today. Hello, Ruby. My dog Ruby just opened the door and said, hi, how you doing? She came in, looking around at everybody. I want to be on the radio. She just turned around. Don't forget, to our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Oh, my. When you're talking about life insurance and health insurance and retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more for you, your family, and your business, please call, make an appointment. These folks are really dedicated and responsive to your needs. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. That number to call, 436-4424. Don't forget, call them today. In just a moment, we're going to have the lovely Rita Ramsey on the program. And again, I want to back up a little bit and say, hey, I'm sorry about every now and then having to clear my throat or cough or whatever. Whatever's going around this country, it's making stops at various individuals, me included. And boy, I've had this thing for about a week. Hey, don't forget, let your house welcome you home with the perfect temperature. And that's the iComfort Wi-Fi thermostat from Lennox, featuring remote control access, so you can adjust your home's temperature from anywhere. Wow, Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox offering now up to $1,600 in rebates on a new system. So make yourself comfy. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459. Why, look at that. I just said the good word, Ramsey Heating and Electric, and here's that lovely lady. Good morning, Rita Ramsey. And we'll try it again. And good morning, Rita Ramsey.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I was getting nervous. Oh, you're there. That's all that matters. How are you doing?
I'm real good.
Oh, good. Okay, here we go. I haven't had a chance to talk to you for a couple of weeks. I would imagine that you being, and I mean this in all politeness because we're both of the same cut of cloth, a news junkie like I am, I would imagine that you have got some various and sundry thoughts about the Sesame Seat production that was put on yesterday in the House Ways and Means Committee room.
Wasn't that just the biggest joke? I mean, I would have thought that after the Mueller thing was such a big coup for them, that they would have really lined up their ducks, and they just weren't even close. I mean, I just can't even begin to imagine what they were thinking that they had and whether they could go forward. It just made them look like a bunch of clowns.
Well, they were a bunch of clowns, and as a matter of fact, if you looked into the background, you could see just the hoods of the clown cars waiting to pick them up after that hearing and take them back to their respective cells. I'm concerned about one other aspect of this, though, Rita. You and I and others can discern really what is right, wrong, or indifferent about this situation. But the news media is portraying a 96% evaluation of what's going on negative against Donald Trump. That's pretty powerful. 96% of the news is totally negative against Donald Trump.
Well, you're absolutely right, and I noticed that they were doing that one fellow that is on Fox News, he was doing On the Street yesterday in Washington, D.C.
Jesse Waters?
No, it's actually Kevin...
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Somebody or the other.
Okay.
Anyways, he talked to several people, and there were a couple of them who said, well, yeah, we need to find out if Donald Trump really is bad. And then there was an older couple there, and I would have thought that being that they were older, that they would have had some wisdom about them, and both he and her said, well, no, I think that, Donald Trump, and it's kind of like, do you not really look at anything or even understand what's going on? It's like they read one partial headline, and that was all they were going to take in, and that was formed their opinion. But so I do worry about that, because I think those two aren't the only ones out there that are looking at partial headlines and thinking, oh, this Donald Trump's really doing bad. The big issue is that most people, if they use common sense and even hear just the slightest little bit, should be able to tell that it's just a circus, and they don't really have any kind of anything to blame. And, if you look at the cycle, as this was all going forward and Mr. Shifty was having all of his hearings and everything else, they started with one thing, and then when that didn't go very well, they kind of glided to another topic and started calling it something else. And, last week it was called one thing, and this week it's called another. So, we had all kinds of different things, and they keep thinking that they can bring something up and it'll go ahead and stick and it'll waste. But those two witnesses that I saw, Mr. Kent and Mr. Taylor, both of them debunked the whole thing, and it's kind of like they were the star witnesses.
Yeah.
And then they come in and say, well, no, and then one guy goes, well, I heard somebody say from somebody who thought they heard, and somebody else who thought they heard, and they were listening to Donald Trump's conversation. And it was kind of like somebody called in on a different radio program, I think it was late last night, or night before last, and said, when I listen to somebody, and I can kind of hear their cell phone, they're listening right there, and you can kind of hear them talking and everything, I can't even hear what they're totally talking about. So how in the world did somebody actually hear that phone call?
Well, yeah, and let me, hold on, caller. We'll be with you in just a second, I promise. Here's I wished I could buy a little trophy and ship it back to Democratic Congressman Quigley, because I think this man is the winner of the dumbest remark made at the hearing yesterday. And I want to amplify the fact that I'd like to award him a trophy for being so stupid. When he came out and said, there have been numerous cases in the courts where hearsay evidence was better to get a conviction. I'd like to know those cases, and I'd like to have some final results.
I would, too, because I mentioned to the person who works in the next office to me yesterday while this was going on, and we were listening to, the hearings and stuff, and as we were kind of in between customers and phone calls, and I said, I watch TV a lot, and I've seen attorney shows, and I've seen when they say, the judge goes, that's hearsay. You can't use that. And they strike it out of the thing, and now go forward. And, I've seen TV shows that show that isn't even good. So I think I have a better idea than they do, and they're supposed to be attorneys and professional people, and I'm just a TV watcher on news law things.
I guarantee you, when I heard him say that, I looked at the television and I thought, this guy is a congressman of the United States of America representing constituents, and he's not smart enough to find the keys to his car?
That was just really sad for them to show how really... See, and this is the thing, and I've mentioned this over the years, sometimes these people get so mad and so crazy that the things that they say and do are so desperate that they don't really realize how absolutely absurd and ridiculous that they look to other people, because they really don't know what they're talking about.
I'm going to take that call, but I got to ask you, did you see the cutaway on another camera? I saw it this morning early at about 4 o'clock with Jim Jordan. When this Quigley said that about hearsay information, and he said, well, there's been a lot of court cases where hearsay evidence is better to get a conviction. Jim Jordan's eyebrows shot right through the roof of his head.
Any attorney or prosecutor or anybody who's involved in that, even judges, should have just gasped and said, what is he talking about?
Amen. Caller, good morning. Sorry to keep you waiting. You're on the air.
Well, it's just like the representative, a Democratic rep who thought one of the islands in the Pacific were going to capsize. Seriously. And see, this is the thing. They keep getting reelected. And it's a dirty shame, ain't it? But, wouldn't you think that they would have brought their strongest witnesses out the first day? Because everybody was all amped up for the big old hearing. And after yesterday's performance, I would have thought, well, I think people are probably just going to slowly but surely lose interest, and they won't have any, they won't care anymore.
A lot of people.
Somebody's
calling me. I'm going to have...
Okay, Randy, but Rita, I want to pursue that point a little bit. And my thought would be this. Do you think it was the best they had to offer yesterday in the opening ceremony, if you will, or do you think that the Democrats are going to save their home run hitter, Babe Ruth, for a later time?
I honestly think, and this is just going by their record after the Mueller thing, when they couldn't come up with anything, and it just sounded like a bunch of guys stuttering and stammering, and like they hadn't done their homework, or that they thought, boy, this is hit, and didn't even analyze it before they put them out there. I think the same thing has happened here. They're just so anxious for something, and they figured, well, this would be good. I just don't think that they have any hard hitters. Who would it be? I mean, there's been nothing.
Well, of course, they haven't subpoenaed the plumber that was fixing the pipes, that overheard a conversation on a cell phone that he passed on to his plumber's assistant, that then called the home office. I mean, this is all so ridiculous.
Well, it is, and it just makes you think, these are a bunch of clowns, and they're the ones that are making laws. They're the ones that are holding America down. They don't care about America, or they wouldn't be doing this kind of stuff. And it just makes you mad to think that they're so opposed to America that they would do something like this. And if you do the weighing situation, weigh out what Congress and the Senate have done, and how they're how they're trying to put together this thing after Trump, and look at what Trump has actually done. Trump is pro-America, and they're anti-America, and that is highly evident. And I guess that's why they hate Trump, is because he's showing how stupid they really are and how opposed to doing things for America in America's interest. They're not interested in that at all.
Do you remember, and I know you do, back in July, where it was brought out about the whistleblower, and there was talks about, well, who is this person? Is it a man or a woman? And what did they have to say? And do you remember at that juncture, Adam Schiff, that is so camera crazy that he's got to be up at the podium all the time? Remember when he made the statement that he knew who it was and that he had talked personally with the whistleblower? Remember that? Now here we are, 4 months hence, and yesterday at the hearings, he's, I don't know who it is. I have no idea. This man is a sleazy, carnival-barking liar.
Well, I'd like to know why he can get by with lying about stuff like that, when if it was you and I under some kind of scrutiny, and we didn't give the exact, maybe we said 3 instead of 4, I mean, something that basic, we'd be like Martha Stewart and be sitting in jail.
Yeah, and I don't walk good on crutches with ankle bracelets on.
Well, it is just crazy. They're just so ridiculous. And then, of course, they come out and say who the whistleblower is, and we finally find out who it is. And you start doing a little bit of investigating with him, and he's just a deep stater. And so really, is he the whistleblower? I heard, I think it was Riley, when he called in earlier today and said, you know what? I just don't even know if there was a whistleblower. He said, I think they made all of this up, and they're using this guy's name because they had to have a name.
Well, really,
honestly, I'm starting to believe that.
And honestly, I think Riley brought up a very, very valid point, that without any name recognition or any personal knowledge of really who the whistleblower may be or not be, and they're going to try to impeach the, and I mean this, most important person in America, our President of the United States, on nothing more than gossip? You've got to be kidding me.
Well, and when you see his ties and where he's at, he's a CIA analyst, and dang good and well that he is right there beside old Clapton and Brennan and Comey and all those guys when they're trying their silent coup, trying to get things lined up. And then also, this fellow is quite closely associated with Joe Biden as the vice president.
Yeah.
And so you can't help but know that this is all... I really think it's all made up now. I'm just starting to think, okay, they use this guy and say, well, nobody will know him. We won't recognize him, so we'll just go ahead and use this name. We're going to put your name out there, and then it'll divert the attention that way, and we won't have to worry about it. But all that happened yesterday is it told us that there needs to be a real deep investigation into the Bidens.
You know, did you have, and I'm sure you did, every class had one, a student in your class, in high school, grade school, or wherever, that was so smug, so arrogant, and so demeaning of attitude that you just hated to be around the guy, and he was the guy in class that you just loved to hate? Enter the door, California Democrat Eric Swalwell. Don't you agree with me that this smug, and he portrays himself as being so angelic and so smart, and he comes out and says that Trump organized this shakedown scheme with bribery and extortion? I just wanted to reach into the television and grab his tie and give him a personality adjustment.
He sure needs that, because he's the one who needs the adjustment, and he needs an adjustment right out of Congress or Senate, wherever he's at. I think he's in Congress. But there's a number of congressional people that I really give kudos to for getting in there. You know, any of the people who interviewed yesterday that were on the Republican side, they really looked like they had done their homework. Mm-hmm. They knew what they were saying. They knew questions to ask. They were quick on their feet. It was like, you know what, we're going to go in with guns a-blazing, and boy, they did. They looked like the U.S. Army going after some bad guys, and I really think that they are to be commended for their homework, because, boy, they were ready to go. And the Democrats, it was like they showed up for a test and thought there was going to be a 3-question quiz, and they didn't really study even on the 3-question thing.
I couldn't agree more. I've got to do a weather forecast, and then we're going to come back and talk about your very favorite person. Stand by. Don't forget our weather forecast brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And they've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area for well over 50 years. I mean, we're talking the professionals. We're talking the best in serving you, your family, and your business. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, financial statement preparation, retirement planning, all of this and so much more, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Remember, get a hold of them today. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
It's another beautiful day here in the valley, and it looks like this air stagnation is going to be moving along because the winds are going to be picking up. Here's a look at your weather forecast for today. Mostly sunny skies. We are expecting a high of 59. Winds out of the east-northeast, picking up to about 10 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 35. By Friday, partly sunny, high of 62. Winds are going to be picking up again by the afternoon. Friday night, mostly cloudy with a low of 32. By Saturday, mostly sunny skies, gusts as high as 24 miles an hour, and a high of 52. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zephyr Ranch.
Thank you very much, Gina, and brought to everybody by our friends, your friends, and people that can serve and help you. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. 1710 Overland and Burley, and 625th Street in Rupert. Remember the professionals, Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Rita, there cannot be a Thursday that goes by where we do not take the time and talk about your dear, dear friend that I know you are just absolutely twisting and turning and ready to shout for her involvement getting back into the presidential race, Hillary Clinton.
Well, I think that it's totally stupid, and I think she's back on the bandwagon with the Democrats. Like, what is wrong with their thinking? Do they not know? I honestly feel like that if Hillary and Bill were smart, they would just fade into the wallpaper and keep their mouth shut and say, I hope nobody notices us, because we are going to be busted with all this talk and all this that's going on, and they will. I mean, we've already found out numbers of things, you know, darn good and well, that Hillary, Bill, Obama, or whoever actually, that's what all of this Ukraine thing is about, is that they were working with the Ukrainians to try to keep Donald Trump from getting elected.
That's right.
And that's where it all started back in late 2015 and 2016, when it looked like he was going to be, making a little bit of headway. And it's just really sad to think that they can't just shut their mouth and kind of hide out and say, I hope not very much comes to surface, because look at all of the other things that have happened, and nobody can convince me that oh, no, all of a sudden his name just left my mind. The child abuser guy that died.
Oh, Epstein. Epstein.
Yes, Epstein. You can't tell me that there wasn't somebody else involved in that. I do not agree one little bit that was him just saying, I want to leave this world before I have to go through all this shame.
Yep.
That's because there's tons of other people out there that are saying he's going to spill his guts and we're going to be in big trouble. And I really think that the Clintons are involved in that pretty heavily. And so why would you not just keep quiet, stay out of the headlines, stay out of the thing, don't get into the race. There's no way she's going to win. They didn't want her one time, and how many times does she need to run?
Well, and we'll take that call momentarily, stand by, but to come out and say, I've had so many people ask me to enter the race. I can think of maybe one, and that would be Big Bill.
Well, that's probably true. And the many that she's talking about, maybe she's talking about one of those 12-person things that she had when there was supposed to be 12,000 there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead quickly, please. I'm down to 3 minutes.
Yesterday when I happened to catch the hearing, and here you have that Weasley Schiff sitting up there in that chair, and he looks like some sort of a runt, and he's skinny runt, and I thought, just the sight of it made me break out laughing, because he is such a weasel, and they're all such pretentious a-holes, I just can't hardly believe it.
Careful.
See ya.
All right, thank you. Careful with the language, please. Careful. Adam Schiff is just not a person that should be a poster boy for what congressmen should look like. I mean, he does have that Weasley approach to the public, and he does sit there in such a smug manner in clothes that are very ill-fitting, and yet with those bug eyes tries to impress everybody with his lack of knowledge.
Exactly. Hence why Trump calls him Mr. Pencil Neck. Because his head is way too big for his neck.
Hey, one other quick thing, though. What does it tell you, and I've only got a couple of minutes left here, what does it tell you when the supposed A-team of the Democrats, whether it was Sanders or whether it was Warren, whether it was Biden, whether it was Booker, whomever, the A-team evidently ran out of gas, and now the A-team's been relegated to the junior varsity, and now they're starting to talk about possibly Mike Bloomberg and now former Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick.
Well, I think it's quite interesting when, as it was mentioned on some of the news shows last night, that generally this time in this season of politics, there are people dropping out. Instead, there are people adding to the group.
That's right.
It's like, this is weird.
Yeah, and really, honestly, and I want you to be fair and objective about this, and I know you will be. When you look at the names that are thrown out there, I mean, in total eschewment, if you will, whether it's Deval Patrick or whether it might be Michael Bloomberg or Biden or Warren or any of them, do you honestly see anyone with their politics and their background that can stand up at the podium and go toe-to-toe with Donald Trump?
No, and he will just destroy him because he is just an absolute wizard when it comes to making up names and making people look like who you think they kind of look like and go, well, that's an interesting name. That's exactly right.
You know, I am concerned, and we touched on it already, that the only thing, and I'm going to say this and give you time for a short comment, the only thing that's going to beat Donald Trump in 2020 is the media.
Oh, I think that's right. I think there will be many people that will look and say, you know what, we haven't done this well in our own personal financial area in literally years and years and years, and I want it to continue, and therefore I don't care what party I'm in, I'm not voting for anybody but Trump.
Amen. And by the way, a quick note of some optimism. Did you hear about conservative young man Ben Shapiro at Boston University? The protesters were booing and chanting against him, and all of a sudden, all the conservatives came and they said, USA, 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 and they chanted and really pushed the protesters out into obscurity.
Well, I think that's amazing, and you know, there's a thing that's called Light. Oh shoot, I can't even remember now what it is. Anyway, it's a big group of conservatives that are trying to get conservative students across America into these big conservative groups where they're learning about stuff, and that's something that we haven't had before. And I think it will be extremely helpful when these college kids start really learning and passing the word around to their peers about what's really going on and what needs to happen in order for them to have a future.
Amen. Rita Ramsey, my dear, dear friend, God bless, and we'll talk to you next Thursday. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
All right, take care. Love that lady. She does a great job. And boy, I tell you, somebody else that does a great job. Actually, I know a whole series of people that do a great job, because we're going to be talking about some places to go when you're hungry and starving to death. How about the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley? Pumpkin shakes, eggnog shakes. I love those eggnog shakes. I shouldn't have too many of them, but oh boy, they're good. All the burgers, like the famous Farmer Brown burgers, and the French fries with a special sauce. Oh, I am starving to death right now. AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Let's move on over to Taco Bandito at 2301 Overland in Burley. Pumpkin empanadas. Oh, yeah. And they're now on that DoorDash program. You can go online and order. Have them sent right to you. Hey, I'm telling you, they got the street tacos. They got the new pork burritos, the breakfast burritos. Knock your Tony Llamas off delicious, let me tell you. Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Stop in and see them today. And not one, but two of the burgers, etc. at 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. Listen, corn dogs or burritos, only $1.39 after 3 p.m. Can't beat that. I'm going in. And don't forget, after Thanksgiving, they're going to be starting eggnog shakes, and they've got a different soup every day. Delicious soup. Great people, nice people at Burgers, etc. in Rupert and Burley. Last but not least, let's not forget our friends at Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 West of Heyburn, with food the way you love it, with delicious buffalo burgers and cheesy broccoli spuds. And, of course, they've got cupcakes. They've got delicious cupcakes, delicious flavors each week. Great place for you to go. Friendly people that really put out and serve you a great meal at Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 West of Heyburn. And those are just a few great places to go when you're hungry and starving to death. We're going to take a little break. Be back in 7. God bless. Stay with us. Welcome back. Hour number 3 on this Thursday, November 14th. Good morning to you. Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. They've got all the tires to get you through whatever the Mother Nature decides to throw at you on the highways and byways for this winter. Stop in and see them today. Along with our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And let's not forget our friends, with my sore throat this morning, I apologize, Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Heyburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. And that's the truth. I wanted to amplify that a little bit. I urge you, seniors, to call and make an appointment to go over and see the wonderful brand new facilities of the 12-bedroom home that's available over there. Beautiful rooms and, of course, housekeeping and snacks and 3 meals a day. Local transportation. Oh, seniors, put this on your list of a must-do. Contact Matt or Kelly Wiggins today at 650-4979. That number again, 650-4979. Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Yep. Seniors living the good life with friends. Also, there is a big sale coming up, and I mean big sale over in Gooding. It's going to be the Gary McLaughlin Estate Auction. It's going to be this Saturday at 11 o'clock, and that's at 211 8th Avenue West in Gooding. Look for all the signs, lunch by the Cook Shack, and they're going to have a lot of great shop equipment and tools. I mean, the list goes on and on. Lots of collectibles and great furniture and household items. I urge you to be a part of this sale. The Gary McLaughlin Estate Auction this Saturday, November 16th in Gooding. Like I said, look for the signs, and this sale managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, yes sirree, they sell them all. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been so blessed on this program with the friendships that we have made over the many years, and this next gentleman is one of those friends. He's made a big transition in his life, changed, and instead of just wearing the casual work clothes every day, he's putting on a 3-piece suit and a necktie, and here he is now, the Burley High School Athletic Director, Randy Wynn, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Seb?
Not too bad. By the way, I know I want to get this out of the way because it's very hurtful to me. Your Seahawks won the other night.
Yeah, I didn't sleep very much Monday night. I was so excited. That was one of the greatest games I think I've watched in a long time. So,
I can't argue with you. It was a great game, and of course, my Green Bay Packers, they really squeaked it out on the 6-inch line with the, trying to remember, they played the Panthers and barely got by.
Yeah, both our teams are very good this year. They could meet in the playoffs for sure. So
let me ask you something, Randy. As the athletic director now for Burley High School, and you've really changed hats. You've always been connected with sports as a referee, and an outstanding referee you are. I want to give you that praise. Has high school, college, and professional, has the attitude of sportsmanship really changed over the last 15 to 20 years?
Oh, it absolutely has. And then, I'll just focus on high school. But, I mean, we have an issue. I'm also the basketball commissioner for the 4th District, so I assign 31 schools as well. So, most of them have 6 teams. That's 180 teams. And, it's hard. I got 105 referees, and, you work hard to keep them. It's tough. The sportsmanship is tough, and that's why I have a hard time keeping them. We're having an issue with the junior highs right now. I've recruited a bunch of young people that want to referee. They're excited to move up the ladder, excited to do it, so we train them at the junior high level. That's where we have to put them at to start, obviously, and they're just, these fans and parents are running them off. And they want to quit after a couple of games, and it's an issue that we're having. And it's sportsmanship, and it's not just in this area; it's nationwide. It's a real problem. And I know the IHSAA, the Board of Controls here locally. We had a meeting last night. We're just trying everything we can to try to resolve it in some way. So,
well, let me say this, and I'm going to bare my chest a little bit. I am not at all, and I underline those words, not at all proud when I was a fan/parent of my boy and my daughter in high school, and I'd like to retract and go back and do over, if you would, many of those days of sitting in the stands as a parent. But I think it is worse today. But what do you do? How do you draw the line between the athletic contest and the actual cheering for the local team?
Well, it's hard. We did it. In fact, we talked about a sweet interview for KMBT they're going to do. Brittany's going to show tonight. But we talked about it on there that if there's a tough call, if something happens, you may say that maybe that wasn't a foul or whatever. And you say something, that's fine, but don't harp on it. Just stop, move on. I've done this for too many years, and from Division I level down, watch so much film. I guarantee you, if there's a call that didn't go in your favor that was supposed to, I can always find on film 2 or 3 that went in your favor that shouldn't have. They all wash out. And so, just be glad there's people out there doing these games. Without them, there would be no high school athletics. That's what I tell my coaches here. That's what I tell my officials. I mean, if the referees weren't out there to do a game, there wouldn't be any sports. It would be begun.
Absolutely.
And, I guarantee you, those parents that complain on the side and complain to us and to the referees, they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it any better. Not even close.
Let me ask you this. This cancer, and I'll call it that, because there's things and issues that are going on in the stands that today I never thought we would see. And I'm talking primarily on the professional and collegiate level, with the lack of sportsmanship, the lack of class, the certain chants that are issued using vulgarities in the audience, etc. I think that's a lot worse now than it was 25, 30 years ago.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I mean, you go to I went to a Utah Jazz game a while back, Seattle Seahawks game up there, and I mean, it's terrible. The people, the stuff they scream, it's amazing to me, some of the stuff that's said. And then, we had the issue, they had the issue Utah Jazz last year at Oklahoma City Thunder were there with Russell Westbrook, where that fan got banned for life from any Utah Jazz home game from what he's, the racist comments he made to Russell Westbrook. I mean, it's just some of the stuff that people say. It just blows your mind.
Is this laxity of being a professional, or being courteous, I should say, is this laxity of being courteous and respectful, is it now dripping down into the high school ranks and they see these things on pro and college games and they think they can get away with it?
Absolutely. I think now with social media and you see people, how they act at professional games, NCAA games, they think, hey, we bought a ticket to this high school game, we can act the same way. And, I mean, you can't. I mean, the referees at the college level, the NBA level, I mean, I've been there. It's like walking through a wall to get hired in those leagues. And, high school level, we're begging people to come do it. It's just totally different. And I just wish people would understand that it's definitely, like you said, has definitely dripped down to the lower levels.
How do you go about finding, and I would imagine you touched on this earlier, but finding good quality people that are willing to put cotton in their ears and not listen to the stands and go out and try to be good referees?
After you've done this for enough times, Zeb, you kind of can tell when somebody asks you if they're, tell you they're interested, and you kind of tell by their persona if they're nervous, if they got a good confidence out there on the court. You can just tell kind of talking to them. I have people that do football, people that do baseball that also want to come officiate, and that helps. So, where people have experience with that, it's a big deal if they know other sports. That helps. But, it's just... it's hard. We go through CSI a little bit, and their athletic director down there helps me find people, and it's just that's why I talked to you earlier. It's frustrating when I work so hard to get them, and then we train them at the junior high levels, the lower levels, and people just want to run them off. It's just out of control.
Randy, is there one sport over another that is really creating more of a problem?
Well, I mean, even the football, baseball, volleyball, soccer commissioners will tell you this is basketball, and here's why: because we're right out there. We don't have a hat on our heads. In football, we're not, 30 yards away from the fans, or in soccer where we have we're a ways away. Volleyball doesn't seem to get as intense. Baseball, you kind of have a catcher or a mask over your umpire's mask over your face. You got a hat on. You're kind of incognito in those situations. But basketball, you're right out there in front of everybody. Everybody can see you. Everybody knows they're right on top of you. And definitely the most hostile sport that we have is basketball as far as that goes.
So what are the answers? I mean, we can sit here and define what the problem is, but how do we make a definition as to how to stop or curb the problem?
Well, Ty Jones, the IHSA director, sent out initiatives last year. There has to be game admin at every IHSA event. And if a parent or fan gets tossed, they have to take a course through the state before, and they're suspended for a game, but before they can go to any other IHSA sanctioned event, they have to take that course and get approved from the state. So, for example, if they got thrown out here at Burley High School, they cannot go to a Burley High School road game or any other event that the IHSA sponsors until that class is taken online and the state gives them permission to go back. So they're trying different things, but I mean, it's tough. Every year they come up with new implementation to try to solve it. So that's the best we can do right now.
Randy, what's the breaking point? I mean, what is the absolute breaking point of that's it, toot your whistle, and this guy's got to go. How much can you take or absorb before that happens?
It's not really black and white, Zeb. It's kind of by individual situations. You hear things in the crowd, and you may listen to something, but, I threw out more people the last couple of years than I ever have. I mean, not a lot, but 2 or 3 games worth. And, I know these younger people, the younger referees are going to take a lot more because they don't have the wherewithal yet or the guts to go in and get security and throw them out. So it just depends on your tenure, what you hear, kind of the situation. It's not really black and white, but it's kind of in an individual basis. So.
As an official, and you've done this, and you're one of the best in your trade of being a basketball official, do you think that instant replay, regardless of the sport, baseball, football, whatever it might be, it has been a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, I like it in basketball. Obviously, I have it in college and the NBA, not the high school ranks. But I like it because you got technology to get things right. In football, I know with that pass interference they've got now, and they're not overturning it. Even if they challenge it, it's very likely to have one overturn all year. I know that stemmed from that Saints Rams games last year in the playoffs. But you got technology. You hate to have a team lose when it's obvious that the ball broke the plane or there was pass interference at the end that was totally egregious, like last year in that Saints game. I mean, technology's got to get it right. I know it slows the game down, but I like it personally because you get things right that way.
Do you think it creates an aura of respect, more respect on the field for the actual referees and officials, or takes away from them?
Oh, I would think it gets respect because you're getting the call right. And, there's times that, they miss the call. And, in the NCAA, I've used instant replay and had to change one of my calls. And, you're almost like, geez, I got that wrong. But, there's a respect because there's a referee or an official that's overturning one of his own calls to get it right. So I think that probably garners more respect for that person.
But the fans themselves, they sit up in the audience, and I'm going to put myself in this position. There are a lot of things that go on in a game and up close where you're right on the floor or right on the field with the players that a lot of times from the stands we don't see. And I think there's got to be more of an open-mindedness from the audience and the fans themselves to really sit back and analyze what they think they saw, but maybe they didn't.
Absolutely. That's very well said, Zeb. I mean, and you talk about, if we eject a player for saying something, the fans obviously can't hear that, so they don't know what happened. So, you got to have an open mind about that and realize it's a great point that you're on the court or the field or baseball diamond, wherever. You can hear things that people up in the stands can't. You kind of have a sense of when something's going to go haywire as far as 2 kids going to maybe square off or who knows what they're going to do, but you have that sense versus in the stand, 30 feet away in basketball or 30 yards away in football, you have no idea. So.
Do you as an official, or have you as an official, ever, and I hate to use this word, as big as you are, I mean, you can move mountains, but have you ever felt intimidated or feared for your safety after a basketball game?
No. In the NCAA, they give you security all the way to your rental car or wherever you're at, so that's fine. In high school, we kind of get ways to get in and out without going through the public and things like that. No issue. I don't think we've had it. I know there was a couple of things at the state tournament a couple of years ago where a dad waited for the referees to come out a back door and they kind of went out a little bit. There's been a couple of instances like that, but never. I've seen on YouTube and seen on the news where that's happened in other places. But in this area, I haven't really heard a lot of that. No, but thank goodness that people. The majority of them let it go when the game's over. So.
Well, and I was going to kind of sum this thing up by saying one 7-letter word, and whether it's the movie Hoosiers that we saw from the Indiana Hickory team on the movies that was real-life depiction, there was no complaints to the officials. I mean, there was no yelling and screaming at them. And to today, I mean, things have changed, but they've got to settle down. Respect is the word that we've lost in our society.
Well, absolutely. It's not just in athletics. It's all through society. You're exactly right, Zeb. I mean, respect. We talked the other day, you wore a Make America Great Again hat through downtown Portland. You're probably not going to live. So I mean, you got to have respect for other people's opinions, what they're trying to do. They have a right to believe what they want, and you got to respect each other. And that's not just in athletics; that's everywhere. Absolutely.
I wish you the very best of success. They've got a great man for the job as Burley High School Athletic Director, Randy Wynn. God bless you, man, and have a wonderful year.
Thanks, Deb. You're the best. You have a good day, too.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. I really think the world of that man. He's been so upfront and honest with everybody and really been a service to our program. Thank you, Randy Wynn. Appreciate that. Right now, I want to tell you about saving some money and creating basically your own little realm of wealth and security. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about 7K Metals. You can help yourself build your financial security and future with silver. Silver purchases that come right to your home. Absolutely. You can create your own security bank through silver, and believe me, with the escalation in value of precious metals, now is the time to consider a savings opportunity for you and a valued treasure for your loved ones. I need you to find out more. Call these two people because they can help you with your financial security. Lon Hardy at 312-8679. I said that number wrong. I want to repeat it, and I want to correct it. Pardon me. 312-8699. And Sharon Wilmot at 430-3259. Sometimes my nines look like sevens. I'm sorry. And please mention that Zeb told you to call and find out more about 7K Metals and you're protecting your financial freedom and security and future with 7K Metals. Holy cow, I'm late. I've got to get on the phone right now and jump over for our business salute to Barry Equipment and Rental at 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. I'm talking to Cody Powers. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself, Zeb?
Man, how long have you been with Barry Equipment and Rental?
Well, I've been over here in sales. I just kind of started this year over here with them, but they've got a pretty good little business running over here.
I'll tell you what, I'm impressed with Barry Equipment and Rental because they've got 3 great locations, and they've got all the equipment for the lifting and the grading and the leveling and the digging and the pushing. I mean, you guys really get down in the dirt, don't you?
We do, yeah. We've got all the skid steers, excavators, all that stuff that you're going to need, and Bobcat, the leader in attachments for skid steers and excavators, and so we've got basically every kind of attachment that you could even think about needing, and we can basically get any job done we need to.
Cody, let me ask you this. I want to talk a little bit about the Doosan equipment, the loaders and the excavators. What about those? I mean, they are some big dudes that can really move some dirt, aren't they?
They are, and the nice thing about them is, people don't really know too much about the Doosan line. They've been around for quite a while, but they actually are the owners of Bobcat. So Doosan's a pretty big corporation. Nice thing about it is they are actually ranked 5th in the world when it comes to heavy equipment in our line of our industry. So, I mean, they've got a pretty big name, in other parts of the country. We're trying to get more of them established here in Idaho, but they've got the front end loaders that a lot of dairies and farms are using around here, and they're very competitive price wise. We've got basically all the sizes that you're going to need to get done what you need to get done if you're on a dairy and you're loading silage and that kind of stuff. I mean, we've got you taken care of there, and if you're these excavators, they've got different dig modes and things like that. So basically, with any type of situation you're in, we can get you taken care of.
Cody, the thing is, do a lot of people have questions or really not understand what size of equipment they need? I mean, do they have a lot of questions as to what to lease or what to buy?
Yeah, they do. I mean, and part of it is because, like I said, where Doosan is not real well known around here. They know kind of the models and sizes for other better named equipment that's around here. So we do get some questions about well, this is the size that I kind of have, and what kind of size do you guys offer? And pretty much every time that we've had those questions, we've been able to say, listen, this is exactly what we got. it's going to meet or exceed the specs that you're talking about on another piece of equipment, and so we've got you handled.
You know, the thing I want you to explain real quick for everybody is whether it's leasing programs or whether it's purchase options, Berry Equipment and Rental can help everybody on that.
We definitely can. Yep. If you're wanting to, if you just decide that, I want to come in and I want to buy something, we can definitely do financing options that we've got some great programs with some great lenders that we go through that we can get you taken care of there. But at the same time, if you just decide, hey, I want this brand new piece of equipment, I want to lease it, and we can do leases, up to about 5 years. And you got a machine that's going to be under warranty. It's going to be new. It's, and then at the end of that lease, you can either trade it in on a new machine and get on a new lease, or we can, end up buying out the residual value, or, just giving it back to us. And, so we got a lot of options on the lease side, and a lot of guys are really liking to go to that style right now too.
Cody, the number one thing I would imagine, if it were me, I'm not that much of a equipment-oriented person to where I can really run all types. People, they might have a little bit of inhibition about not being able to run a piece of equipment. What do you do? How do you train them?
So, our sales guys, I know a little bit about them. I won't say I'm an expert at it, but I definitely, every time if we do a demo or anything like that, if somebody's interested in buying one or leasing one, we do demos on them where we'll bring out the piece of equipment. And usually when we bring out the piece of equipment, we've got, at least one, if not two salesmen with us. We've had times that we've gone out and we've actually taken the service manager and a tech with us. We make sure that we have all hands on deck there, so when we do a demo and we have customers that are interested in buying or leasing a piece of equipment, that before that customer gets in there to run that, they understand how all the functions work and they feel comfortable with it. So we definitely get them taken care of.
Okay, tell everybody when you're open at Berry Equipment and Rental.
So here in Burley, we've actually gone to our winter hours. It's starting to get colder. So we are here from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. And we are just down the street from McCain Foods here on the highway in Burley.
Absolutely. I want to wish you a lot of success right there at Berry Equipment and Rental, and I also want to plug that along with the Burley location, they've got another location at 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Nampa location of Berry Equipment and Rental. Hey, Cody Powers, you did a jam-up job. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have a good day, Zeb.
All right, take care. Thank you. Really good folks over there at Berry Equipment and Rental. Thank you very much. Oh, I know some other really good folks, too, and that's Patterson's. I want to be sure and talk to you about them real quick. Curtis and Lorena. And Curtis called me the other day from Patterson's Electronics at 421 East Main in Burley, and he came up with a really great idea. I want to amplify this to you, that when you go in there and buy any one of the, like, home theater systems, surveillance cameras, or complete sound systems, car stereos, TVs, whatever, you go up to the counter and you say, hey, listen, name your favorite charity. Give them the name of your favorite charity, and at the end of this month, November, they're going to take a compilation of all the charities, add up the top two that have been mentioned, and Patterson's, are going to give a $500 donation to the two top charities. Isn't that nice? Wow. Patterson's at 421 East Main in Burley, open Monday through Saturday 9 to 6. Curtis and Lorena, give them a call, 678-6997, Patterson's. Right now, we're sending it over to Wheels. We'll be right back.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
There are many, many people that I have on this program on a daily basis, and I really respect having them on the show to discuss the various topics, etc. This next man has been on our program at least, I think, 4 or 5 times, and I hope he'll consent to coming back in the future. He's a senior fellow at the Hudson Institute, and that focuses on U.S.-China relations, and also the author of the book called Stealth War, How China Took Over While America's Elite Slept. And I say good morning to retired Brigadier General Robert Spaulding. Sir, good to have you back on the program.
Good morning. Great to be here.
You know, I think first and foremost, every time you've been on the program, I've been absolutely impressed with your knowledge about China and about our relations with other countries around the world. And I would say this, and I want you to correct me if I'm wrong. It's in the form of somewhat of a question. Why are the Democrats, in your opinion, why is that entirety of that party more concerned about Russia, whom I think is completely in the background and not even close to being in the forefront of something to worry about right now? Why are the Democrats so committed to Russia instead of looking at the bully attitude of China?
Well, I think it's based on how we look at national security. It's really about focusing on the nuclear weapons that Russia has and kind of the belligerent military martial culture that they have, that I think forces us to think about them as really a threat. But it really belies the fact that the Chinese Communist Party in a lot of ways is funding a lot of the institutions of our democracy in ways that actually prevent us from dealing with them. And so a lot of the donors, a lot of the think tanks that actually power kind of the Democratic Party, and to a big extent it used to be the Republican Party, are focused on Russia because they get paid not to focus on China.
My. So basically, sir, it goes down to one 5-letter word that seems to be the most corrupt word for the world, and that's money.
It's money. It is really money. Yes, and the Chinese took a different path than the Russians. The Russians have looked at using their military power kind of to bully, particularly their neighbors, but also with their nuclear weapons, really everybody. And the Chinese decided to use their money differently, and it's something that they've done throughout their history, and it's really to buy people off. And that's actually a quite effective strategy in a globalized world.
Let me ask you this. When you were doing the research and the study for your book, Stealth War, How China Took Over While America's Elite Slept, right there, those words, the last 3 words of the title of the book really scare me. While America's elite slept. Did they sleep? Did they overlook? Or was there a lot of graft under the table?
Well, it's a little bit of both. Our foreign policy was really about creating, open markets creates wealth, and wealth creates democracy. And so, in a lot of ways, we could, these business people, corporate leaders, Wall Street bankers, academians, Chinese experts, they could all feel quite comfortable in the fact that they were promoting democracy by bringing China into our fold, in our midst. And, so it's not really a quid pro quo like you would think about with, what's currently being discussed about Ukraine. It's more of adopting the Chinese Communist Party worldview, which is, when she goes to Davos, she says, we need to keep globalization going because it's beneficial for the world. And what he's really saying is you guys need to stay open for business so that we can continue to take all the technology, talent, innovation, and capital back to China so that we can provide jobs for our people so they don't overthrow us, because we're essentially dictators. We're dictators with one goal, and that is to be a predatory or parasite on other economies.
General, are we at a point in our nation's history that we have painted ourselves into a corner? And I mean the paint's still sticky and wet, and it doesn't look like we can find a way out of that corner. Are we in that corner with China to where they basically can smile that bemused kind of a cat-like smile at us because they know they're in complete control?
Well, it was that way, and I would confess that I was really, really concerned. But, with the imposition of the tariffs, with a lot of the things that the federal government is doing now, it's just beginning to create challenges for the Communist Party in keeping the system going. And What they're trying to do is essentially get us to back off so that they can continue to do what they've been doing. But, as long as we stay the course, as long as we keep the tariffs on, and really the tariffs cannot come off because they're not a market-based economy. They're essentially a state-led economy. And more importantly, when we start investing in the country again, and what I'm talking about is infrastructure, Eisenhower built the national highway system, and we haven't really, reinvested in it since. So we're $5 trillion in arrears, and our industrial base, STEM education, research and development, all the things we were doing, by the way, as part of the strategy that Eisenhower put in place to defeat the Soviets. It was really about growing our economic strength and our science and technology in the United States, and really using that to essentially drive the Soviets into submission. That's what the strategy that the Chinese Communist Party is enlisting against us today. And so, we have to reverse course and begin to invest in our own country and really separate the Chinese Communist Party from our population, because they seek to influence our political process, they seek to undermine our industrial base, and they seek to steal, the wealth and value of a free nation.
Let me ask you this, and I know in your position as a brigadier general, and you've seen that, done that, and been there attitude, are you, quote-unquote, afraid of China?
No, I'm not afraid of China. They are not going to, just go away. We're going to have to work, and it's really about focusing on protecting the nation from globalization and the Internet. We need to protect our data, particularly as 5G is rolled out. But we also need to invest in our country. So it's really a simple process that's already been begun by the current administration. I would say the big thing that they haven't done that I would like to see done, the two things, is really invest in the country and get our retirement funds to stop investing in China and move that money back into the United States, but also protect the information, our data. The Internet is essentially completely open to having all of our data taken, and that's very dangerous in today's world of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and the ability to influence our citizens through social media networks.
General, what are your thoughts about what we are shown on the newscast regarding Hong Kong and these people that seem to be standing up to the Chinese government, but yet now there's been deaths, there's been beatings, etc., and they were chanting USA, USA, waving our American flag, but really there was no response from us. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it tells you what it indicates to you how important the relationship with the Chinese Communist Party is to the established elite in the country, and why it is so important that we stop that we discontinue it, and that we begin to go back to stand up for our liberties and for freedom and for justice and for the rule of law. And we have to speak out about what's going on in Hong Kong. It's imperative. It really damages the stature of the United States in the world when we don't stand up for these people who are really being oppressed.
I have been all my life, due to my past when I was a lot younger, basketball meant a lot to me and played a lot of basketball, etc. And I have lost all my respect for the NBA and the money mongers of the NBA, and especially some of the big money receivers in the NBA like LeBron James and others. This deal with China sickened me the way the NBA handled it. What are your thoughts?
Oh, it's the same way. It's horrible. It's terrible. But it's one thing when the NBA does it, but when our think tanks do it, our law firms, our lobbying firms in D.C., when Wall Street investment banks, when our the investment managers in our retirement funds and our university endowments and our universities, and what I found and what I talk about in the book is every single one of them has essentially been corrupted by money from China, by money from the Chinese Communist Party. And they're not promoting freedom or even free trade or rule of law. They're promoting, censorship. They're promoting, suppression of religion. They're promoting, really oppression, not just in their own country. They're doing it right here at home. And you're exactly right. The NBA is just an example, but it goes far deeper.
How unstable, and maybe that's not a good word, but how much is the instability in that country with the occurrences in Hong Kong, and how big and how powerful that could be if they had future conflicts with the people and personalities in China? How unstable possibly might that government be?
Well, it's really not going to face any significant challenges from the population as long as they're allowed to steal innovation, technology, talent, and capital from the West and provide, full employment in China. And so, that's what they're doing. The reason, we lost so many jobs since China entered the WTO in the United States and in Europe and in Asia is because of this is this strategy by the Chinese Communist Party. And so, we have to stop that. And they can be a fragile system, but it's not going to be a fragile system if we just stand by and let them take everything they need from our society in order to prop themselves up.
I would imagine that you're saying, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, that the track that we're on right now with Donald Trump and his relationships with the Chinese leadership is a good thing, and hopefully after the 2020 elections, all bets are off if he loses. I'm scared of that. Are you?
Well, yes. I mean, clearly he has demonstrated, that it's quite frankly, as I looked at a lot of these decisions while I was at the White House, it was him making them. He's demonstrated that he's going to hold them to account. Now, at the same time, he's getting tremendous pressure from corporate America and Wall Street to lay off the tariffs. And so what needs to happen is not only do, essentially people need to go to the polls, but they need to have their voices heard. Manufacturing is not coming back to the United States if we take those tariffs off, because no company in their right mind would invest in the United States just to see their company destroyed by Chinese predatory economics. And so, it's really about the tariffs, but more importantly, and most importantly, it's about investing in our country and protecting our data. And I think if we can hold the line, the president, and really let them know, because quite frankly, there's a lot of people in D.C. that don't realize that we're not investing in this country. The stock market growing in and of itself is not a net positive for the American people because it actually doesn't put people to work. And so what we need to do is build factories. We need to rebuild our roads and bridges and ports and our railways, and we need to, invest in research and development and STEM education. That's the bottom line.
I might get off the rails here a little bit, General, but I think you will concur with me that when you look at the Chinese work ethic, even though I know a lot of it is forced and coerced, and then compare it to the work ethic that has been absolutely decimated here in this country with people not having the self-responsibility to take care of for themselves and work hard to achieve something, we've got a problem.
Well, I hear people say that, but I'll tell you this. The people that were working in factories in Middle America, that 70,000 factories that left the United States, they were productive. And they were far more productive than the Chinese are. What the companies that own those factories wanted was the fact that they could essentially use the equivalent of slave labor in China and pollute the environment where they were building those factories. And if you go to China now and you live there, like I have, you see that the air, the land, the water, everything is completely polluted. And so I think, in a lot of ways, this idea that Americans can't be productive is really just it's not accurate. We can be very productive. More importantly, we've got the lowest energy costs now in the OECD. We have the lowest corporate tax rates. We have, you can't look around this country and not find an opportunity zone within knocking distance. So there's so much opportunity to rebuild productive capacity here in the United States. And by the way, with 5G networks and particularly secure, where you're protecting your data, you're going to do a lot of these factories are going to be automated, and so they're going to be far more productive and far more valuable than they are in China.
Tell me about the book quickly, Stealth War. Where can people get the book, and how's it doing?
It's doing great. It's in Audible form. It's in Kindle or e-form. It's also in hardback. It's in Amazon. It's Barnes & Noble. Really any of the major booksellers. It's been well received. People like it. It's a very quick read. You'll get through it in 5 to 6 hours, and you'll have a good understanding of everything the Communist Party's done. But most importantly, the last 2 chapters are really telling us how do we get out of this. And it's all in the national security strategy. If you looked at the 2017 Trump administration national security strategy, it really aligns well with that because, quite frankly, it provides background and context for that strategy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to have this gentleman on my program, retired Brigadier General Robert Spaulding from the United States Air Force, and his book, Stealth War, How China Took Over While America's Elite Slept. I wish you and extend you the very best, General, and happy Thanksgiving coming up in a couple of weeks, and please come back on the program.
Thank you so much. I'd love to.
Thank you, sir. Very, very interesting man to talk to. Former Brigadier General Robert Spaulding with the United States Air Force on what I think, and he agrees, our biggest nemesis, and that really is China. Right now, oh my goodness, yes, I know, Zeb, look at your watch, you're late again. I apologize. Our weather forecast coming up next. And the weather brought to you by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Hello, Don Scarrow. I'm going to try to butter him up a little bit. Come on over for a visit, Don. Yeah, come on over for a visit and bring some more bratwurst with you when you come, would you please? Love their brats. Anyway, they've got the best of meats, whether it's all the marinated pork ribs or the tri-tips or all the different kinds of bacon or whatever. You just look on their website, scarrowsmeats.com. They're located at 331 North Road, Jerome, and the telephone number 324-7657. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
It's another beautiful day here in the valley, and it looks like this air stagnation is going to be moving along because the winds are going to be picking up. Here's a look at your weather forecast for today. Mostly sunny skies. We are expecting a high of 59. Winds out of the east-northeast, picking up to about 10 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 35. By Friday, partly sunny, high of 62. Winds are going to be picking up again by the afternoon. Friday night, mostly cloudy with a low of 32. By Saturday, mostly sunny skies, gusts as high as 24 miles an hour, and a high of 52. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb Duran.
Gina, thank you very much. Appreciate it. She does a great job with the weather, and it's brought to you this hour by Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, Don Scarrow and the crew. And again, go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. All the delicious meats. Yep, delicious, key word, because they're changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time at Scarrow's Meats. Wonderful people, too. Quick reminder, I got time for a telephone call or two if you want to give me a jingle. Yesterday on the program, I had this gentleman, and I had never, ever talked to him prior to coming on the program. I was extremely impressed with Alex Newman, and he's going to be talking in Twin Falls next Tuesday, November 19th at 7 p.m. at the College of Southern Idaho in the Taylor Building about rescuing our children and our nation. He was extremely good in talking about our education system and what we need to do to correct the problems that are encompassing our children and pushing them towards a leftist-type government. Very interesting. Alex Newman next Tuesday at CSI, 7 p.m. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, and I realize these things are kind of unique, but wouldn't it be nice if the local newspaper and the local KMBT actually promoted this? I mean, everybody has the free will to whether or not they go or not do it. But, you know, if they understood what this man was about and what he was doing and how serious the problem was, they would care.
You know,
see, the agenda is more important even here in Twin with KMBT and the RAG, the Times News, than it is about our children. They're still, you know, they secretly love them, and they secretly care, but what they really want to do is make them, indoctrinate them with environmentalism and sexualism.
You know, Randy,
and you see,
let me jump in here and say something quickly. You know, your point's going to be really well taken with me, because when people sit down and analyze any kind of a problem, there is a right, there is a wrong. There is a good, there is a bad, there is a white, there is a black. And how, when you talk about education and the way it's been degraded with our kids and what they're being subjected to, why isn't it past time for some of these communications outlets, be it newspapers, television, whatever, to jump in and try to do their share in trying to correct the problem?
I tell you what, it's amazing how blindly obedient CBS affiliate KMBT is to the CBS networks. They're getting their walking papers or talking whatever right out of D.C. or New York or wherever it's coming from. You see, and it's just like whether or not it's the girl or the guy standing there telling us every day they beat my president up, and I wonder if they even know.
Yeah.
Other than what they're reading off of that teleprompter, if they even know anything. I could go in there and I could debate them. I wonder if they know. And that's what makes me so damn mad. They're standing there acting like they know something when they're full of BS and they don't even know nothing. And I wish they took the time to do better.
Well, I just wish, Randy, that a lot of people would have heard that interview yesterday with this Alex Newman, because he really, really got into the nuts and bolts of what's going on in public education, what needs to be done with our kids in the schools, and the filth that's being provided and being subjected to our kids on a daily basis. And so I appreciate your comments, my friend, and I hope that you and your family have a great weekend.
My friend was at a sporting event, and he was sitting with his wife, and he looked down, and there was a row of teenagers, and they were passing around, and he could just see right over their shoulders. It wasn't like he was trying to, to look. They were passing around on their phone porn.
Oh, boy.
And it was just an everyday thing to them.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, it scares the hell out of me. Thanks, Zeb.
All right, my friend. Thank you. Have a good weekend. And with that, I'm also going to tell you that our major sponsor, we wrap up the week and we say thank you to your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. They've got all the tires, all the tread designs, all the sizes for all vehicles, for whatever the weather throws at you on the highways and byways, like the Open Range AT, superior braking, quiet ride, or the Winter Cat tire, increased stability, advanced winter traction. They've got all the tire chains. They've got the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries. All of this with some really nice people. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. Yep. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Got to run. We always wrap it up by saying the way things were, the way things ought to be. And, of course, the 4 words that mean the most to us: in God we trust. See you next Monday at 8:06. Zeb at the Ranch. Have a great weekend.